thank you again for coming to the Friends of the Rinard Orchid Greenhouse Gateway Plaza special event today. My name is Dr. Tim Carter. I'm the Director of the Field Stations and the Environmental Education Center here at Ball State. We are here today to celebrate the expansion of the Rinard Orchid Greenhouse and the creation of the new and unique Environmental Education Center. This new center is an exciting educational space here at Ball State and exciting for our community. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our donors and sponsors for this event. Those include Dr. Joe Rinard, which I think many of us know. He's an alum and a retired dentist from Indianapolis. AEP, American Electric Power, has been very generous and a great supporter of this project. Gene Gazziola has been an amazing supporter of the project. And then also Josie and Jeff Fox from California have been recently added to the list of sponsors. We are really pleased to be here today. I can't tell you how excited we are about this expansion. It's been a long time in the making, and by that I mean a very long time in the making. Both for actually the construction that you see, but also, I mean, this was intended from the very beginning, right? So we are so excited to have this. If anybody has seen, I mean, these renderings of the outside are impressive, and that's what we expect to see when it's done. But the inside is what really just gets me so excited, right? This space is going to be a phenomenal space for our community, for the children, for the adults. I can't wait myself to be able to use it for special events. Truly am excited about this event, or this space. So I'd like to turn this over to our curator. You guys might know her, Cheryl LeBlanc. She's been with us for just a couple of years, working here, and so I'll turn it over to Cheryl at this point.
Thank you, everybody, so much for coming out on this beautiful autumn day. We are really, as Tim said, really excited to share this new facility and this opportunity with you today. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Friends group and their role in how we got to this place today, and really how they've been instrumental in what we do. I'll tell you a little bit first. Dr. Carter mentioned that we're part of the Environmental Education Center, the field station at Ball State University. The greenhouse is part of Christie Woods, which is one of 6 properties that the field station manages. It's really become an intentional destination to complement the work that we do in our educational mission. It's all about nature education. This facility truly is all about nature education and giving back to our community in ways that Ball State has not yet been able to do. We're really on the cusp of campus, we're on the edge, and we feel like we can offer opportunities in lots of different ways that the rest of campus just cannot, because we're loosely structured and we're outside. So that makes a big difference. The greenhouse has been part of the university for over 50 years. You might have been part of our celebration this spring that was our 50-year anniversary. The greenhouse that we're looking at right here is only 7 years old. With that said, and the mention earlier about the long time in coming for this project, the plan for this building started over 10 years ago. We were not able to fulfill our dreams with that 7 years ago when we built the original Rinard Orchid Greenhouse. And with this addition, we're actually able to do a lot more to fulfill that dream. In 2014, with the help of lots and lots of friends and supporters and 300 hours of handwork and help, we moved the collection from the tiny little building behind us into this new space. Hard to believe that was 7 years ago. And in that time, we have gradually increased our attendance from 1,000 visitors a year to over 6,000. So we truly have created something that people seem to appreciate and enjoy. And we could not have done that without the Friends of the Greenhouse. So in 2015, a very tiny group of dedicated volunteers and docents decided they wanted to do something more for the educational mission of the new facility. Their dreams were modest to begin with. They thought maybe we should build a gift shop. And then they realized that the mission of our educational outreach was much, much more broad. So instead of just a gift shop, we have created the Friends of the Greenhouse, and without their tireless dedication, we really wouldn't be here today. They sponsor 2 of our major events, our big annual fundraiser as a plant sale in April, and on our December Holiday and Bloom program, where we bring the community here and tie the university to Minnetrista and the rest of the community. So those 2 big events are totally owned by the Friends Group, and we really wouldn't be able to have our connection with the community without the Friends Group. We truly feel strongly that this Gateway Plaza should, if we can, we'd really like to recognize the Friends in this way. So, let's see. As you probably know, we in 2019 we added the Friends Group added a showcase, a special event to the agenda that they offer every year. And because of COVID, we haven't been able to have that showcase. So this event is our fall version of the showcase, and hopefully we'll be able to show you what we're doing as Friends and how we have some visions for what we're going to do in the future. So I'd like to celebrate the Friends in their effort, and as we go forward in our program today, we'll tell you a little bit more about that goal. And with this, I'd like to introduce our Special Education Program Coordinator, Erica Oliver. She has been with us for 3 years and done some amazing things. She is also the assistant to the Orchid Greenhouse.
Only been married 2 weeks, still not used to the name change. Thank you. Like Cheryl was saying, in 2018, I was hired for this position, so it's been about 3.5 years. And the main goal of my position was to help us do more with environmental education. The goal of creating my position was to support our ability to fulfill our educational mission statement, which is to promote and support multidisciplinary environmental education in natural settings for students of all ages, which is a little bit of a mouthful, but I think we're doing a pretty good job. Prior to being hired, our educational mission statement was achieved through the hard work of my coworkers, Cheryl included, who recognized the value of educating the next generation of environmental stewards, and they did so on top of their existing job descriptions. Even with an already full plate, my coworkers provided outreach and interpretation opportunities to nearly 4,000 people a year in 2015 and 2016, and over 6,000 alone in the Orchid Greenhouse alone in 2017. It became clear at that time that our community valued our programs, and then they decided to create the full-time position that I get to do now, and they're never getting rid of me. And it's been an awesome time to join in on the fun. During my first year here, we provided programs to over 10,000 pre-K to 12th grade students, BSU students, and community members, and that grew to over 11,000 in 2019. But then, as we all know, the pandemic happened, so our upward trend kind of dipped a little bit. And it caused a bit of a drop in our program attendance. Schools did very few in-person field trips last year, and we closed to the public for several months, so that kind of made it hard too. But even with all of those caveats, we still exceeded what we did in prior years before I joined the crew. We reached nearly 9,000 people during the last fiscal year, and that was mostly through the creation of socially distanced programming outside and creating some online resources that teachers could use in their classrooms, but using our photos and videos that we've been taking and creating. We anticipate visitor numbers to continue to grow beyond what we've already achieved as we move beyond and move through and beyond the pandemic. This continued growth in programs has demonstrated the need for the additional employee that is talking right now, but it also demonstrates the need for the building being constructed right behind us. The biggest hurdle we face in our programs right now is space. Space to do indoor programs on rainy days so we don't need to cancel on school groups. Space for community meetings like the Audubon Society, who will, fingers crossed, be having their meetings here starting next year. And we're hoping to have more space for local scout groups and other organizations to join us and use our space and use our resources. We really want it to be a permanent resource to environmental stewards of all ages. So we're getting pretty close to that goal, or we're already doing that goal. The combination of our expanded conservatory, the indoor nature lab, and the Gateway Plaza, that's the focus of today, will allow us to serve our community in so many ways with our educational mission always in mind. The Gateway Plaza will even allow us to offer a unique outdoor learning space after hours, which is great because, as you guys know, we close at 4:30, so people need to get out, but they won't need to pretty soon. We really look forward to even more programs, more community events, and greater pre-K to 12th grade impact as we move forward. And with that, Friends of the Orchid Greenhouse board member Daniel Stallings, he is going to tell us more about the Gateway Plaza and its unique and special role it will have in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica, and what a treasure she is to this program, isn't she? So, and thank you, Cheryl and Tim, for all that you've done to bring this to fruition today. We appreciate that. I'm excited to be here today to represent the Friends of the Rinard Orchid Greenhouse on this exciting occasion. And if I can ask those who are members of the Friends group, if you could please be stand for just a moment so we can recognize the other members. So. Thank you. There are a lot of hardworking volunteers that have made today happen, so we're excited. This expansion of the Rinard Orchid Greenhouse is all about nature education, as we've heard. With this facility, we will add educational opportunities and a unique quality of place to our community. While the greenhouse expansion has already been largely funded by several generous benefactors that Tim has already recognized, the plaza represents an opportunity to be a welcoming entrance to all that we will be experiencing. The Gateway Plaza will be located at the entrance to our new facility, to my left over here, to your right, and will be a wonderful, unique outdoor area open to the public 24/7. It will be a gathering place along with the newly defined Ball State University Arts and Culture Trail, which I hope you've heard about. And it will include art, sculptures, nature, quiet contemplation, community meeting space, beautiful plantings, and possibly a mural or two. We are pleased to announce that the Friends Group has already pledged $15,000 towards the $35,000 for these plaza enhancements, and the Friends Group is committed to helping fund this unique area for our community, and we invite you to be a partner in completing this special community gathering space. We're very excited to recognize members of the Friends Group in this way. The Friends of the Rinard Orchid Greenhouse, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Rinard Orchid Greenhouse, have been instrumental in supporting the greenhouse, the educational mission of the greenhouse, and the BSU field station, and bringing these opportunities to our community. Led, of course, by our curator, Cheryl LeBlanc, the Orchid Greenhouse and the Friends Group have forged a path for the future and a better place for our community. As the new facility comes online next spring, it is with mixed emotions that I can share with you that Cheryl will be retiring after nearly 29 years as the curator. Please join me in thanking Cheryl for her vision and many years of service to this community treasure. Can you stand for just a moment? She does not like to be in the limelight, but Cheryl, thank you for indulging us. We really do want to thank you and honor you. Nature education has been Cheryl's primary purpose for all of these years, and the Friends Group seeks to recognize her service by commissioning a unique memorial bench in her honor. It is Cheryl's wish that the Friends Group be recognized as well with this Gateway Plaza. Therefore, today we are encouraging anyone who wishes to support Cheryl's bench and the Gateway Plaza to make a special one-time gift to the Friends Group, Fund 911, and now through December 31st. And I think as you arrived, you received either in your invitation or as you arrived, the pledge cards for that. The benefits, supporters will receive Friends membership through December 31st of 2022, the benefits of which include receiving early access to the annual Friends of the Rinard Plant fundraising sale, as well as a 10% discount on your purchases, a subscription to our 6 times a year electronic newsletter, invitations to all of the greenhouse special events, and a detailed Friends membership booklet. In closing, We encourage you to support this project by contributing to this beautiful Gateway Plaza. And again, Tim indicated the renderings on either side. We will look forward to a bigger and better future with this expanded facility. Thank you for your support. Now back to Dr. Tim Carter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. So I would like to introduce our guest speaker for today, Mr. Josh Coggeshall, faculty at the Ball State College of Architecture and Planning. Josh has been practicing architecture for more than 30 years in Texas, California, and then most recently in Indiana. He's been a partner and a collaborator in the firm Shimizu, is that how we say that? Coggeshall Architects, starting in 2004. Prior to that, he was the principal of the design build firm Cog Workshop, beginning in 2001. Josh has been directly involved with over 15 national AIA and Progressive Architecture awarded projects. He holds a Master's of Architecture degree from Southern California Institute of Architecture, where he was awarded the AIA Henry Adams Gold Medal for top graduate student in his class. He also holds a degree in environmental design from Texas A&M University. He is a committed educator who has taught at a variety of institutions, including obviously Ball State. And additionally, he is the founding curating member of the Exhibit Columbus, an art and architecture biannual that celebrates the design and legacy and architecture of the Columbus, Indiana area. So I'd like to welcome you up to speak. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I was a co-founder with a big team for Exhibit Columbus, as much as I would like to take credit for it. So thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. Thanks to Cheryl and her team for all your hard work in this endeavor. As you might have already guessed, I am not a Hoosier. I grew up on Galveston Island, near Texas, and later lived in Los Angeles. But a little more than 12 years ago, Janice and I packed up our practice and family and moved to Muncie. We saw an amazing opportunity to work at the College of Architecture and Planning and saw the potential of the region. We've had many opportunities to practice architecture in novel ways here, including advocating for adult literacy through an architectural intervention in a homeless day center in Indianapolis. And I'm currently researching home ownership issues in the McKinley neighborhood over by Central High School. And I'm now working with the Muncie Arts and Cultural Council with many of the people here. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes. Okay. So I think I'm 6 feet away, right? Okay. I have been asked to speak briefly about the value of community space and investments in public art. My comments will be broken into two parts. The first is why we need vibrant and diverse public spaces, to listen and to understand a multiplicity of ideas, whether it is to understand natural systems or opposing cultural positions. The second part will be a brief history of the generosity of the citizens of Muncie and how we can use that example to moving forward through the vehicle of art. So first, let's take a moment to reflect on the long history of a city named for the local tribe of Delaware Indians, and a county named for Indians, and a state named for Indians. The land where Muncie is located was ceded to the United States in 1818 through the Treaty of St. Mary's. This place has been the site of human activity for more than 12,000 years through the rich and vibrant cultures of the Miami, Kickapoo, and Delaware nations, and we recognize that the languages, cultures, and traditions of these nations continue to this day. So what does community space actually mean? Richard Sennett, the preeminent social scientist and United Nations habitat consultant, talks about the qualities of an open city and what the principles of civic life mean to him, and he frames it first with a question. There's your rock. What should the city be in its physical, socioeconomic, and political economy? And he states, it's a place that enriches experiences. It opens up opportunities economically, and it manages complexity. People become more and more skilled in managing complex conditions of life and taking advantages of opportunities which are unforeseen and accidental. So what does complexity in this context actually mean? For Sennett, It means that a city or urbanity cannot come into being by people and ideas who are the same. It has to come into being by gathering people who are different, combine people for the sake of defense, trade, and people learning how to take into account points of view unlike their own. One must acquire skills to deal with people unlike oneself. And he states also, there's a craft required to be able to identify and understand and work with people who are different than oneself. This is the fundamental principle of urbanism ethically. So he speaks about two ideas of dialogue between differences and negotiation. In one way, the more we mix people together, people will find a common understanding of each other. So that's the assimilation and the sort of melting pot theory. But simultaneously, there's the potential not to unite, not to assimilate, but to become neighbors, to be apart, but to be mutually aware and interactive with each other. That's the pluralism and sort of salad bowl theories. It allows strangers to be strangers, but yet meet at borders. Borders in one way can be an edge where different groups interact, like the edges of the woods and the edge of a greenhouse. Borders can be permeable membranes, being places of high activities, unlike a boundary, which is a hard edge that separates. Borders can be where the land meets the sea. More life forms are at these ecological borders for feeding, or as Sennett states, where natural selection is the most intense. This new project is an excellent example of what a high-activity border can be. Visitors mingling with volunteers, art students taking a well-deserved break, a restful stop on the way through the Christie Woods while watching scientists capture and study local birds, which I've seen multiple times in there. Some of my favorite moments in town of this are when our neighbors, the Amish, are working at the Minnetrista Farmers Market, proudly keeping their traditions and values alive. I feel like the apple pie I just purchased is better because it was produced under the values of the Amish. And the same goes for Amish-made furniture. The interaction, the negotiation, and the exposure are small life moments that show us how community space works. So what is the value for this new community space? It will link up with the new Riverside Bike Trail. It will expand the borders of the cultural trail. It will prototype new types of classrooms that will engage Ball State and Muncie community schools. Imagine the potential learning opportunities for kids from Southside Middle School to claim ownership of this space. It will be a flexible and latent space for the study of nature, art, and the natural sciences. And even more exciting, what are the emergent opportunities for having an asset like this for teachers to reimagine what their class can be? It would also provide a community space that will allow someone to be alone in public, a space that will allow one to daydream, freed from the constraints and stress of everyday life. And it will be a space for reflection in contrast to a space of consumption. Richard Florida, the influential urban theorist, talks about what cities need to do to attract and retain the creative class. The creative class tends to be professionals, artists, designers, educators, and entrepreneurs, basically the graduates of Ball State. His research states that cities who want to attract and retain these people need to be fertile grounds for innovation and new ideas. People are generally looking for these community assets, a strong urban core. Proximity to different transit options other than the automobile. Proximity to major universities and other knowledge-based institutions like the hospital. And proximity to natural amenities like Christie Woods, Cardinal Greenway, Mountain State Park. And our own Center for Business and Economic Research has stated that people and startups choose communities based on housing prices, school quality, and quality of life issues. With that being stated, this project directly relates to 3 of those quality of life issues: natural amenities, close or part of a major university, and part of the trail network. This project leverages its unique site condition, located on the borders of the Glick, the greenhouse, the woods, the trails, the university, and the neighborhoods. It's more than just a space. It's part of a network of interconnected and superimposed systems. You can't explain a railroad by just describing the cars. This landscape will connect to the already wonderful interconnected trail network that our community has put so much energy into. Communities need to build to their strengths. Muncie's strengths are its people, the university, the hospital, its natural resources like the White River, our wonderful city parks and pools, and of course the Rinard Orchid House. Muncie is distinctly known for its art and artistic works. Not many cities this size have a museum like the David Owsley, the Cornerstone for the Arts, Muncie Civic Theater, and the Glick Center for the Glass, as well, of course, as a major school of art. A connected network like this can act as a magnet for recruiting talent. I know I have been on many faculty searches when we are trying hard to recruit talent that have many options on where to live. So I think the reason Cheryl asked me to speak today is that we both serve on the Muncie Arts and Cultural Council Selection Committee. We've been working very hard with our team to develop and prototype a new way to commission public art, one that is very transparent, inclusive, and innovative. Public art, as you know, is sometimes more about the process than the final artifact. So I'm going to step back in time, almost 100 years ago, to describe one of our most successful public art commissions. In the late 1920s, Muncie's Chamber of Commerce wanted to build a memorial to the generosity of the Ball family, a generosity that saw the limitations of manufacturing and projected a future of Muncie based on education and healthcare. The community commissioned the sculptor, Daniel Chester French, to design a public art piece that reflected the values of generosity. French, at the time, was the preeminent sculptor in the country at the beginning of the last century. He was previously known for his 1893 monumental artwork, The Republic, which was the centerpiece for Chicago's World's Columbian Exposition. And he was the designer and sculptor for the statue of Abraham Lincoln in the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. His artwork for Muncie, Beneficence, which sadly happened to be his last artwork, where the story becomes very interesting to me, is that the citizens of Muncie donated money for the artwork. Over 11,000 people donated to this project to raise $50,000, roughly $750,000 in today's value. And just so we know, 11,000 people was a quarter of the population of Muncie at that time. Additionally, they hired Richard Henry Dana, prominent East Coast architect and Yale professor, to design the layout and the columns. I have to shout out the architect. Dana was also, interesting, the grandson of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So at this point, you're probably asking, why am I talking about this? Well, the long-term goal is to have public art in this space, either through a rotating program where we commission different artists to share their work. If the community values it, we would negotiate for a more long-term solution. Or we commission a semi-permanent piece that would be developed through listening and responding to the community. This is part of a larger curation of the city's public art program. Muncie Arts believes that art is for everyone, and our aspirations is to curate high-quality public art across the entire city. We are trying to move away from plop art, art that is designed without reference to a place and context, and have art that is more tailored to a specific site. Additionally, we are in early discussions about transforming one of the public trails into something akin to a sculptural garden, but I guess it would be a sculptural trail that would connect citizens all across Muncie. As mentioned earlier, Muncie Arts is interested in supporting regional artists through an inclusive selection process that might team with local fabricators, students, and produce art that is impactful and challenging. It's a bit chilly, so if I'm shaking, it's not. We have a mission to make public art a vehicle to introduce art and design to kids who might not be exposed to it, to introduce kids and young adults that art can also be a career as an artist, a glass artist, as a fabricator, a graphic designer, or an architect. So to sum up some thoughts, what is the public image of Muncie we want? What social ideas do we want to express? Then we adapt social investment to turn out that image and expression. Muncie is at a very exciting time. There are many people working with very good energy to make Muncie known for the arts. Let's do like the citizens 100 years ago and invest in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. That was amazing. Thank you. So as I was sitting here listening to that excellent talk and reflecting on what various things mean and the history of our area, which I learned a lot about, by the way. Thank you. That was excellent. It dawned on me that, you know, in a way, preaching to the choir here, because if you're here, obviously you're very interested, but are we all familiar with what is planned for this entranceway, this plaza? So if for those that aren't aware, because your talk about art really kind of made me think, I don't know if everybody's aware of, so imagine, if you will, take a journey into the future. So this space over here, you know, it's a right now mud pit, right? It's gonna be amazing, and we've had a lot of challenges with this design, and one of those challenges is those really ugly boxes right there, which we can't move. It would have taken the entire budget to move those, because that is one of the major electrical conduits for an entire campus, right? So we can't move it. And so what do we do with ugly boxes? Well, you shield them, right? But we take that as an opportunity for artwork. And so one of the things that I am super excited about is we're working with the team of students through our art program here at Ball State, and we will have screens, essentially what they are, but big steel screens that are going to surround these boxes, but we're allowing the students to turn them into artwork. And so I don't even know what that's going to look like yet. And we're actually got a meeting with them next week, right, where they're going to present some ideas of how that might look. But it's, again, an opportunity to link not just this space, not just have the space as its own, but to link it to other spaces. And so with that, we're planning on having artwork to help cover the ugliness with some amazingness, right? But on top of that, it is going to be a very welcoming space with benches and planters. It will be not only a welcoming space for people just to enter into the facility, but also an educational space where we can actually have some outdoor education opportunities and some both direct and indirect educational opportunities for our visitors. And so this space really will be, it's that first impression of the space, right? And so it is going to be a phenomenal space. We are excited about it. We spent a lot of time. It's funny, we spent almost as much time talking about the front entryway as we have many of the other spaces, right? And so it really is going to be a gorgeous space. We hope you guys will consider supporting that space. It truly is going to be amazing, breathtaking, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing not only the whole space, but that space in particular. So with that, I want to thank you very much for coming today. We hope you are inspired by this new amazing facility. You know, we mentioned about the cultural corridor. For those that aren't familiar with the cultural corridor, Ball State, as I'm sure all of you know, has a lot of resources to offer, from the museum to the planetarium and a variety of GLIC right here. And so we're trying to integrate all of those. And some of the other news that maybe not everybody is aware is, you know, the wonderful Cooper building, right? So many of us are familiar with the Cooper building. It's under renovations right now. It's the very early stages, but that will be renovated. And one of the really exciting parts of that is in the first floor of that, our dean has graciously dedicated a huge chunk of the first floor to a community center. And that community center will be the nexus for our cultural corridor here on campus, which includes the greenhouse and GLIC and the planetarium and others. And that's where we can have very large school groups come in, 60 kids at a time can come in, and that will be their base station. And that's where they'll be able to drop off their coats and their lunches and backpacks and things like that. And from there, they can spread out to the planetarium, to the museum, come out here to the educational center, to GLIC and things like that. And then they have that place to go back to and have lunch and things of that nature. So Ball State really is investing in this community aspect and trying to create not just individual entities, but actually an entire program system, if you will, for outdoor education. Well, not just outdoor education, but all kinds of environmental education. So, so we're really excited about this facility. Erica mentioned it's a long time coming. It really is. And you know, the number of people we've been able to impact with just Erica joining the team is phenomenal, truly. I mean, it exceeded my expectations. I can only imagine what we're going to be able to do when we have this huge space where we can actually house people and not just cram them into little tiny places that we can find all over campus. So super excited. At this time, if there's any, we've got a virtual audience. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. If any of them have questions, I think Erica's been monitoring that chat, and she's welcome to bring those up, and we can address those. I encourage you to enjoy some of the refreshments and reach out to any of the friends of the Orchid Greenhouse board if you want to learn more about the Gateway Plaza. Also, the greenhouse is open for tours. I know probably every single one of you have already been in the greenhouse multiple times, but if you want to go in and take a look, you can. We can't actually enter the construction site for obvious reasons, but certainly we'll hang around. If anybody has any questions about what's going to be there, that kind of stuff, we're happy to answer those. And of course, from the inside, you can start to get a little idea of we've already see the extension of the conservatory, which is amazing. I can't believe how quickly that got done. I'm excited at how quickly that got done. We were all very nervous about opening up the greenhouse to the elements, but it turned out to be pretty good. So thank you again for coming. We really appreciate all your support. And again, if anybody has any questions or anything, we'd love to address those. Thank you.
So I promise the millennial is not just on her phone. I was keeping an eye on the chat, and we didn't get any questions, but we got some very kind words from Jean Gadziola and Spencer Gridley, so just wanted to give them a shout out. If anybody here has any questions, you're welcome to ask them to any of us. And like Tim said, we are open. I don't know what your point. Oh, hi, yes.
I've got a question. On the pavers
Mhm.
you have mentioned on here, now where is that going to be at and how does that go?
I'm going to let Tim answer that one. 'Cause
Imagine if you will. So right over here, as we come in, the center part there is going to be all pavers, and those can be engraved, and so they will all literally be in this little area, starting kind of where that RNG forklift thing is. It's just kind of right in that area right there. There'll be some benches in there, and they'll be all mixed within that area. So we'll have the main entrance coming in, and then there'll be kind of that little courtyard, the plaza that we've been talking about, and the pavers are right in that.
There are some renderings of the plaza on the table to the left.
When you mentioned 24/7 access, you're talking about the plaza area.
The plaza area.
Yes.
So the fence will be redirected over to the corner of the building, and so this entire front area will now be accessible at all times.
Could you share the comments that you received?
Sure did.
Okay.
Yeah, let me get that. So Jean Gadziola said that we had some right before the live stream started, we had a rotation of photos from kids groups of some of the orchids and the renderings that which we have inside. So if you want to come in afterwards and see some more renderings of what it will look like, you're welcome to do so. So she was just very excited to see some of that come to reality. And then Spencer Gridley said that they are very proud of what we have done and that they wish we could have been there, which was very sweet of them to say. And thank you guys for your questions. Please come up to talk to us personally if you'd like to. And again, we do have the renderings inside if you'd like to see those in more detail, as well as over there. And we've also got handouts for our upcoming programs over there as well. If you have any kiddos or grandkiddos who like Halloween and the Magic School Bus, I had the Miss Frizzle dress before they hired me, so we will be doing a Halloween program at the end of the month. And I would love to see some of your faces again. Thank you.
I guess the last two.